For me, the biggest culprit certainly is our political instability that has not allowed continuity in policies. But number two reason is our lack of performance in education sector. If you look at the success stories of the countries, you find that education is a necessary, may not be sufficient condition for development. There is no country in the world that has developed without having a literacy rate less than 90%. Unless we educate our nation, we cannot have the permit or the visa to enter the journey of development. So this is a major challenge with which we have grappled. And I think we need to ponder that why is it that we have not been able to do as well. I once asked our two leading nuclear scientists when Pakistan detonated the nuclear bomb in 1998 that how come we were able to do something in which the whole world was stopping us to achieve our goal, and how come in other areas where the international community is wanting to help us, we are not able to achieve our goals. So they gave me a list of success factors which enabled them to achieve something that the whole world was not very helpful for Pakistan to achieve, and we did it by our own means. First and foremost, they said, it was our shared vision in our organizations. The whole organization, right from a janitor up to the head of the institution, shared a common purpose, and it was aligned with that mission. Number two, they said that we enjoyed stability of leadership and continuity of policies. And one of them jokingly said that, if we also had tenures of our chairmen, like you have tenures of prime ministers, so we would be making puljaris. We would not be, today in possession of this capability. Number three, they said, we did not compromise on merit. Starting from recruitment to posting and promotion, we always tried our best to preserve merit in our organizations. The fourth thing they said, it was not the machines that enabled us to achieve this. We focused on our human resource development. It was our people that helped us achieve this. Now, there were a couple of other things. Now, I think we need to apply these lessons to education sector. And to me, one of the major missing links in our social sectors is stability and continuity of policies. We have given these sectors to fast changing tenures of our civil servants. They come for weeks, 2 months, 5 months, and they change. Similarly, if you look at the district level, the quality of human resource we have, for example, I would say that while you are focusing on the next challenges, to me the single most important challenge is how do we manage our education system at district level. I remember I had proposed to the Chief Minister then, Mr. Shehbaz Sharif, in the last years of his tenure, that we need to professionalize education and health sectors at district level. So we did manage to create District Education Authority and District Health Authority, but beyond that it could not be fully implemented in letter and spirit, because again the old guard took over those authorities and they became irrelevant from the purpose for which they were set up. And what was my point of suggesting to him that we set up these professional bodies? For example, now in my district, I think the education budget would be somewhere 2.5 to 3 billion rupees. And similarly, for bigger districts, it would run into 5 or 7 or 8 billion rupees. Now, who is the manager sitting on that big, colossal amount of funds? He's just a school teacher who happens to be a district education officer or a chief executive of the district education authority, who has no modern management skills. His only function is to serve as a printing press for posting and transfer orders. That's it. So what I had proposed to the Chief Minister was that, if we take out 1% of the budget and put it on the PMU for that district, for example, why cannot we have a market-based recruitment for the Chief Executive of the District Education Authority? Someone who is at the top of the education budget should be best and the brightest. And it should be open to civil servants or from private sector, whoever is interested. They should come with the right skills. They should have modern education in management, in education planning, in education management, so that the whole budget becomes productive. And then they must enjoy a stability of tenure. They must serve for 3 years. They should be accountable. There should be an oversight body, and in a province there should be a provincial education authority whose role should be to regulate the education as well as do performance management of the district education authorities. So some, out-of-box solution to make this investment productive. It is not that we are investing any less money. For example, I'm sure province of Punjab's budget for education would be something like 400 billion rupees or so, plus minus. For Sindh, it would be plus minus 300 billion rupees. Now, that's not a small amount of money. But are we getting the right rate of return? Are we getting the right impact for that investment that we are making? And I think all those things, those were being discussed, that how do you bring accountability? How do you do stock taking to make sure that the KPIs that have been set up are being achieved or not? So one of the fundamental weaknesses in our system is that we have a poor education management system. And let me give you another example. In my constituency, I call the headmasters of our government schools. And now I ask them that, please, can you tell me what is your monthly pay package? So starting from the first one till the last one, everyone had a 6-figure tag, 100,000 rupees, 110,000 rupees, 115,000 rupees, all like that. So then I asked them that, can you please tell me how many private schools in district of Narwal are giving same pay scale to their headmasters and headmistresses? So there was pin drop silence. So I said that, can you give me one example where even any private school is giving them 60% or 70% of what you are getting? Again, there was pin drop silence. So then I said, this is probably one area where public sector is paying its people more than the private sector. So then at least public sector is also entitled to get better results than the private sector. Why is it that we are not getting better results than the private schools? So is it not a food for thought for you? And is it not that, you will be also held accountable on day of judgment, that, you were getting this double salary or far more salary than private sector schools and your performance was far worse than the private schools? And so why is it so? I think one of the fundamental reasons is that at one time when we were very young, there used to be a very effective function of education department known as inspectorate or education inspectors. So there was a regular accountability, but then with the spread of education infrastructure, that inspection system almost became redundant or meaningless so thinly that there is hardly any education accountability in terms of how things are managed. So I would say that, while we have big challenge, from curriculum, how do we enter the new century where whole of the education curriculum that was developed in industrial world has become redundant. Today, critical thinking, innovation, creativity, group learning, all those things have become very important, which are very different from our old model of learning. So how fast do we embrace them? That is one challenge. But on the other side, as I said, how do we revamp our education management system for results is another challenge. So with kind of partnership that we have with our development partners, and we have this great opportunity of British government support to help Pakistan improve its education sector, I think we need to learn from the best practices, global best practices, and all the reforms that have been done in UK also, and how best can we adapt them to our own local environment so that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. This collaboration offers that great opportunity of learning from the best practices from the developed world so that we can catch up faster. But then the real challenge, I think, would be that how best can we implement them? Because we are not very poor in making policies. The real challenge comes in implementation. And implementation can only happen if there is a strong ownership of those policies. And therefore, my personal tragedy has been that I have been part of two great exercises of dreams for this country. First, Vision 2010, where we thought that Pakistan can achieve the goal of becoming an upper middle income country by 2010. It was distracted through political events, and there was martial law, and the whole thing was thrown out of the window. Second time, Vision 2025, where we thought that by 2025 we can be in the top 25 economies of the world, and we were very much on target by 2017 when PricewaterhouseCoopers projected us to be in the top 20 economies by 2030. But then again a political change and the whole vision was thrown out of the window. So when I was in Adiala jail for no fault of mine, because I was building a sports complex in my district that put me in a death sentence cell for more than 2 months, I used to reflect that, I was part of 2 initiatives to put Pakistan on a fast-track path, and both times they were intercepted by political changes and could not continue. So what can we do differently so that our development plans do not suffer from such disruptions in future? So the only answer I could think of was that our civil society and citizens need to be given ownership of the reforms and the policies. If we can develop a strong voice of our citizens, of our movers and shakers in society, they can probably guarantee that if there is a political change, they can use their voice to tell new government that we want you to follow this policy and not.
وفاقی وزیر احسن اقبال تقریب سے خطاب کر رہے تھے. انہوں نے کہا کہ تعلیمی شعبے کو جدید بنانے کے لیے قابل افراد کی خدمات